Welcome to the Score Fantasy Basketball Podcast. I'm waiverwirequeen. In today's video, I'm going to give you some breakout players and some underrated sleepers. So, when I prepare for my drafts, I am trying to create the best team that is going to position me to win because it's all about winning. If you are trying to win your league, then you need to consider some of these players who will be great additions to your bench because guess what? It's not all about your starters. You have to build a great bench in this fantasy basketball to win. So if you're ready to win, let's jump right into it. Let's get it. All right, Anthony Edwards is one of my first breakout players. So we know Anthony Edwards, he had a nice season. We all were excited because we watched him dunk all over everyone in the NBA. Hit the like button if you remember at least two great dunks Anthony Edwards did this past season. I mean, it was amazing. He looked like a younger D Wade. I will say, in order for Anthony Edwards to take it to the next level, he's going to have to increase his field goal percentage. And I would like to see him start improving his defense and start getting some steals. So he averaged 19 points on a season, 4.7 rebounds, about 41% from the field. I really would love to see that field goal percentage increase to 45%. And he's definitely capable of increasing his points per game to 2021. So with that being said, I expect a lot from him this season because I feel like out of the guards on the Timberwolves, he's the best guard. I feel like he has the potential to be way better than D'Angelo Russell, and he's a winner. So he's aggressive. He has that moxie and leader mentality that much no one on that team has, and so I look at him as a leader of a team and the type of player who's going to take control. And when you have that type of young, talented player, sky's the limit. So his points should increase, rebounds should increase. He should start getting some more steals, increase that field goal percentage, and then also get at it on the defensive end because he's definitely capable of improving his defense. And when you start adding other statistics, it makes you a more appealing and well-rounded player. And with Anthony Edwards, he definitely has the talent and the potential to elevate his game in every statistical category. And I expect to see improvements in several categories this season, which is why I have him as one of my breakout players. Okay, he had a great rookie season, and he's just going to build on that rookie season. All right, y'all, let's talk about Isaiah Stewart, center or forward for the Detroit Pistons. What up, though? Shout out to everyone out in Detroit. So, yes, the Pistons had a rough year, but they made up for by drafting Cunningham, which, very, very talented young man. And then you also realize that Hayes is coming back. He really didn't play much this past season, but he's coming back, and that is really, really good. So you have a nice young backcourt, and then you have a nice young talented center like Stewart. To start for the season, he didn't start out as a starter, didn't get a lot of minutes, but on a season he ended up averaging 7.9 points per game and 7 rebounds per game, with the potential to be a starter, which is expected because they're a young team and rebuild. 7 to 8 points can quickly improve to 12 points per game. And then 6-7 rebounds can increase to 9-10 rebounds. And so he's going to have the capabilities of giving you a double-double. Now, I'm not saying draft him as one of your starters. However, you have to build your bench, and he's a nice young player to add to your bench when you have players who were out due to several reasons. You got off nights, injuries, load management, which we all love, and then you have COVID protocol. So there are several factors in which you have to really consider. Hey, the draft is not all about my starters. I have a full draft in which I have to build a bench in order to help me, because let's face it, your bench may win you your league, and that's what the goal is, to win your league. And when you have a solid bench and players who can come off your bench and fill in if, say, for instance, one of your top dogs go down with an injury. So Isaiah Stewart is a great young player to add, whether that's in a dynasty league or if you're looking for a young big to help you out on those nights where some of your centers or power forwards are not available. So consider him. Expectations are high for him this season. And like I said, he's capable of at least 12-9, which he averaged the last 10-15 games of the season. So expectations are high, and he has the potential. And one key factor is a lot going on out there in Detroit, and he has nothing but opportunity. Okay, when you have opportunity, that's a chance to build on what you did the previous year. An opportunity is available to this young man. All right, another breakout player is Jakob Poeltl, center with the Spurs. That's right. Woo, when are the Spurs gonna embrace that rebuild? I'm thinking this may be this season because they have a lot of young players. So nonetheless, he averaged 8.6 points per game, 7.9 rebounds, and he shot 61% from the field, which is really good for a center who's not looked at as, one of the really good centers in the league. However, he's solid. This is another player you can look at to add late in the draft on your bench. So those totals can easily jump to a double-double. And if you can get a big who's coming off your bench, averaging a double-double, and they're shooting 61-62% from the field, you have done a really good job. No, you've done a hell of a job in your draft, and you have nothing to worry about. So don't wait for someone else to draft him. Draft him with confidence. And if you see him in free agency, pick him up and add him to your bench, because he is going to be the starting center. He is going to get at least 25 to 30 minutes. I'm hoping it's more on the lines of the 30 minutes. And that way, the statistics from last season will improve drastically. So he'll go from 8 points to 10 points, and from 7-8 rebounds to 10 rebounds, and get that double for you on a nightly basis, and be efficient from the field, because 61% from the field is excellent for a big. All right, one of my favorite breakout players who sort of had a breakout season last year, Darius Garland, guard with the Cavs. I feel like he is the better guard in that backcourt. Nonetheless, the Cavs love having undersized backcourts, but that's on them. He averaged 17 points, 6 assists, and he shot 45% from the field, which is solid. So obviously, the Cavs are in rebuild mode. He is one of the focal points of that rebuild. And like, he is the better guard in that backcourt. And also, you got to look at the fact that he's going to get other people involved. So Sexton is not going to get a lot of assists. But Garland, he averaged 6 assists last season. So he has potential to be a 20-8 guy for the Cavs and shoot 45% from the field. And you got to realize there's opportunity there, because hell, they are in rebuild mode. He's going to be one of their starting guards. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, which means opportunity for you to draft him and utilize those points that he's going to get for your team in your points-based league. He's very good for a points-based league and a player to come off your bench and help you when some of your top dogs are out. I gotta stress to you, the draft to me starts once it's time to start in your bench players, because it's easy to draft, a LeBron James, KD, or Steph. It's easy to do that. It's not easy to put a bench together, because you gotta really know what's going on. You have to do your homework. You have to know these players, and you have to know exactly how your league is set up so you can draft the players who are going to be effective in your league. And if you don't know any of those things, then you're going to look at your bench and be like, what the hell happened? You know what happened? We weren't prepared. Guess what? We don't do that. We are prepared. That's what I do, and that's what you guys do. We are prepared and ready for our drafts and to position ourselves to win our league. And that's what a player like a Darius Garland can do for you. He can come off the bench on days where you have players who are off or other issues, or if you have injuries. Injuries are part of the game. And that's why you want to be confident that, hey, if one of your starters will go down, you got someone like Garland who's on your bench who can get you 25 to 30 points. Because when you start adding up the 17.67 assists and other little things, you'll find that, hell, I done got to 25, 30 points from somebody on my bench who I really wasn't expecting at it, but you can expect it. Another player who's going to continue to move up in the right direction and reach full potential of a breakout year, Lonzo Ball, guard with my Chicago Bulls. And I have him on this list because there is definitely opportunity for Ball to grow even more than what he did last season. 14.6 points, 4.8 rebounds, and a little assists. So have him on this list because he improved statistically last season, and he has the potential to improve even more because he's playing around a whole team that is much better than the Pelicans, and he's with an organization that actually believes in him and wants him to succeed and is really not trying to change the style of game that he has. And then when you factor in that he's worked on his shot. So one thing I will say is the three-point shot has improved, but the field goal percentage, he has to increase that. That has to get up to 45, 46%. So that's opportunity right there for him. And then a player like Lonzo should be averaging more than 4 or 5 rebounds per game. So I can see Lonzo increasing those rebound totals to about 6. And then the assists, he can get that to 6 or 7. And then you're looking at a player, say he averages 15, 16 points. We'll keep him at 15 points, 6 rebounds, 6, 7 assists. He's going to get some steals because he's a really good defender. You have a guard who, if you position yourself right and really strategize during your draft, if you don't have him as one of your starters, you can have him coming off like as your first man up off the bench, and you're looking like, hell, some nights he may get a triple double, and you're like, well, I got about 14, 15 points out of my backup guard. I got about 5, 6 rebounds, 6, 7 assists, 1 to 2 steals. You're going to be pleased with that production. So consider Lonzo, because I feel like he made the change last season, and now you're going to see the full breakout. He's going to tie everything together, and you want to be a part of that, okay? And that's why you're going to consider him in your draft. Another player we're going to talk about, let's talk about Tyrese Maxie. So opportunity is key in this situation, and which why he is on this list as a breakout player. So Maxie, he only averaged 8 points, but he shot 46% from the field. With Tyrese Maxie, opportunity is that we don't know what's going to happen with Kawhi Leonard, when he's going to return, and if he's going to say be on a minutes restrictions. We don't know. What we do know is Maxey played his tail off last season. Tyrone Liu ignore this young man and not give him minutes. He definitely deserves minutes and is a really nice young player to have coming off their bench to help them at times, and help. Some nights he may finish the games because he's having a good game. This kid dropped 40 points in the playoffs. Not too many people are dropping 40 points in the playoffs. You're not a scrub if you drop 40 points in the playoffs. And so this young man is not a scrub. And opportunity is the best thing for him, and you want to be a part of something like that. As I was saying, some of these guys here will be great additions to build your bench, because again, when you are drafting, it's the full team that we're looking at, and your bench is very important. Okay. Hell, sometimes your bench may be more important than your starters because, again, when you're drafting early on, hey, you know these guys, you know what they are capable of doing. But it's once you get to the later rounds and you're like, ooh, who is that? Or what should I do? Now you know what to do because you know what players you should identify and target in those later rounds based on whether that is opportunity, potential, or these players have just developed between last year and this off season. So those are the key factors you look at, and then you get on in there and do the damn thing and surprise everybody and let them know that you're about to win this league because you are picking the best players who are going to have breakout seasons help you win. And Tyrese Maxie is someone that you can consider in a points-based league. He definitely is going to probably be within that 15 to 20 range in regards to points. And honestly, the draft will dry up quickly. So players like Maxey may be players you will have to consider drafting late in those deep leagues because, hell, the draft may dry up and then you're looking like, well, I don't know who to draft. Well, you do. There you go. Opportunities right there. Another player, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So he is right now projected to start. You know that Lonzo has left the building, no longer with the Pelicans. And you know that, okay, Zion, we don't know if he's going to be available to start the season. And you also know that the Pelicans had these high expectations of signing some of the top guards in the NBA, which obviously didn't happen. And so they're left with players like Devontae Graham, Stadaransky, and Alexander Walker, who had a nice season off the bench. He averaged 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. He shot a solid percentage. He's a nice young player, and he's going to have opportunity to start. And then even if he doesn't start, minutes are going to increase drastically because there's minutes left out there. Because when you lose your starting point guard and Lonzo, then there's minutes left. There's availability. And that's the key here. Opportunity. And there's a role for him to take advantage of and make it his own. And so when you see in a limited capacity last season, he averaged 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. With a more consistent role and opportunity, he is going to have a good season. Those stats should increase drastically because right now, again, I'm going to say that Williamson may not be available to start the season. So somebody's got to score the ball. Yeah, they got Ingram, but he can't do all the scoring on his own. So when you look at a player like Alexander Walker, you're like, okay, he's definitely an underrated player. However, remember, he's someone you target late in drafts for your bench because you build your bench with players like Alexander Walker and Isaiah Stewart and Jacob Pottle. You build your bench with some of these guys and they will help you win. So I had another player on here, and this is for late, deep. And this is Terence Mann. So I had him on this list because at the time, Ben Simmons was nowhere to be found. So Ben Simmons reported, but I will say that I will still be cautious with the Ben Simmons thing because you don't know if he just reported just to report so, he can get that check. However, if Ben Simmons is reporting and says he's not playing until he's traded, then a player like Terence Mann should be on your radar late. And I would say that even if you don't draft him, put him on your watch list and see what he does. And you may be able to pick him up because, okay, he averaged 7 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist in a limited role. We know that the talent's there. He's a similar player to Tyrese Maxie. He has the potential to be a nice young player for the Sixers. And if they give him more minutes like they should, then he may be able to help you off of waivers when someone is out or injuries, anything, and you are looking for some type of production. Because let's face it, 0 categories is no good. 0 points is no good. You need some type of points because you don't want to not play someone and now you have 0 points, and that will be the reason why you lose your head-to-head matchup for that week. So You can consider someone like him extremely late in the draft, hell, like last round, or, and this is just for deep leagues again, or you can consider someone like him to put on your watch list and monitor the situation with Ben Simmons, because guess what? If Ben is like, I just showed up, but I'm not playing, you'll see a lot out of Mann. All right, y'all, hit that like button and let's jump right into our underrated sleepers. So these are some players that you can draft and add to your bench, because these guys are some more players that will help you, and they're underrated in the sense that people are not 100% checking for them, and they do have the potential to help you, whether it's a head-to-head league or categories based league, whether it's points or categories. So Bogdan Bogdanovich, definitely somebody I would check for my bench. I would be a little concerned if he was one of my starting guards, but I would be very happy if I had him coming off my bench. He's underrated. People tend to be like, oh, he's really not going to do nothing. Yes, he's going to get you at least 16 points. It is going to shoot a high percentage from the field and shoot a nice percentage from three-point field. So if you're looking for a player to add to your bench in a categories-based league, and you're looking for a good field goal percentage from your guard and a good three-point percentage from your guard, then Bogdan Bogdanovich is definitely someone you can target at a good point in your draft. Not early on in your draft, because we're not drafting him to start. We are drafting him to come off our bench and help out, okay? If he's your starter, then I'm concerned. But guess what? We on our A game. He's not our starter. He's someone we have to build our bench, because we're building a strong bench, okay? And again, 16 points, opportunity, solid player, okay? And he look like he can play a little defense, so he may get you a steal here or there. But just know that if you do draft him in a points-based league late, then he'll get you at least, on some nights, 18, maybe 20 fantasy points. And that may be all you need from a player to come off your bench on a night where one of your top dogs is out. And you got to be realistic that what I get from my starters is not going to be 100% same as what I'm going to get from my bench players, unless you're in a league that has like 4 or 6 teams, which I don't recommend doing that. But you always have to have different expectations for your starters and for your bench players, unless you just draft, like, say, for example, one of the top rookies, like say you get Cunningham or Green, and they go off and you've drafted them for their bench, and then you are considering inserting them into your starting lineup. Kind of like last season, most people didn't draft LaMelo Ball to be their starting guard, or Anthony Edwards to be their starting guard. And then these guys had breakout rookie years and played extremely well and exceeded everyone's expectations. And then you were looking like, well, shoot, I got Melo on my bench. He's someone I can start. And so you put him in your starting lineup. If you can find players like that, great. Some of these guys have the potential, okay? And it's about potential and opportunity. And remember, health is wealth. So good health, okay? If you're an injury-prone player, we're not checking for you. And guys, don't check for those injury-prone players, because they're going to disappoint, okay? Brandon Clark, center forward with the Memphis Grizzlies. He averaged 10 points, 5 rebounds. So we know that during the offseason, the Grizzlies traded their talented center, which shocked the hell out of me. But nonetheless, they traded Jonas Valanciunas to the Pelicans. So he has left the building. So who's starting? So Clark at times looked really good. So he has the potential to be the starter, because if they don't have that starter, then guess what? Clark may be able to slide in that role. And when you're getting starter minutes, say he was at 10, 15 minutes a game, and now he's in a role to where he's starting, and now that 10 minutes, 15 minutes increases to 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes on some nights, then that 10 and 5 may be a 12 and 8. You know, so another young player with a lot of potential, and you can draft him for your bench and realize that, well, great. This is a great problem to have. I have this guy who's starting. He's getting 25 to 30 minutes on a nightly basis. And guess what? He's getting 10, 12 points, and he's getting 10 rebounds. He's potentially getting me a double-double every night, and I'm bringing him off my bench to help when, say, one of my top dogs is out. Very good production off of your bench, and you need production off your bench. Another great player who he doesn't get drafted anymore, Derrick Rose. He's still with the Knicks, and I normally am able to pick him up via free agency, but I'll tell you, over the last few years with Derrick Rose, you snooze, you lose. He is going to get you 14, 15 points, 4 assists. He's pretty much going to get you points. He's going to score the ball and may get you 4 assists, 4 or 5 assists some nights. So with Derrick Rose, he's just going to score the ball, and that's not a bad option off of your bench, because there were times where I had injuries and he had to fill in as a starter, and he played really well. And it was just surprising to see that every time dropping him, but he played really well, and he at least deserves to be on someone's bench because he's going to produce. And also, you got to realize that Tibbs loved Derrick Rose. So if Tibbs is the coach, Derrick Rose is going to see a nice amount of minutes. And even when Rose is playing 30, 40 minutes a game, he is still scoring the ball. He's getting 15 to 20 points. So what are you going to do? If you can pick him up in the draft, great. If you've already drafted and he is available via free agency, then pick him up, because you're going to be pleased with his production. He's definitely a 6-man off the bench and will be a great addition to help your team when your starting guards are off. They're not living up to potential, so where you drafted them. Or again, Rose is playing well. He may be slide into your utility position on some nights where, say, the guy you drafted to play in that utility slot isn't playing well, and then Rose is. So Tibbs is going to make sure that Rose is on that court. I don't care if Kemba Walker is on that. Tibbs trusts Derrick Rose. Okay, so consider him. Another player to look at is Dillon Brooks. Only thing you're going to get from Dillon Brooks is points. So this past season, he averaged 17 points. Didn't have a really great field goal percentage. So with Dillon Brooks is a player you add to mid or end of your bench, because guess what? He's going to get about 17, 18 points. And so that's 17, 18 points that you may have need for. You may have a need for those points. A player to look at is Josh Hart. Okay, he had a good season off the bench. He averaged 9.5 points, almost 10 points a game, and 8 rebounds for a guard forward. If you can get this type of production off of from your guard on the bench, then that is great production. So if I'm getting 9 points, 8 rebounds, some steals, really good defense from Josh Hart, then you know what? I am pleased with that production, and he is a player that I would definitely add to my bench. Okay, so you can expect those stats to increase because, one, again, Lonzo is not there. Hart is a really good player. He plays defense too, so you won't only get 9, 10 points. You're going to get the 8 rebounds, and you're going to get a steal or 2 here or there. So that's at least 20 points. So points-based league. If you're desperate on a night where, say, your top guards are off and you're in the categories-based league and you're struggling with your guard on this particular night and they're not in there and you need rebounds, you're going to get you 8 to 10 rebounds. So potentially categories, and it would only be rebounds. So I would say he's better suited for a point space. All right, let's talk about Gary Trent Jr. with the Toronto Raptors. He signed that extension to stay with Toronto. So that means they have expectations. He averaged 15 points this past season. I can expect to see that increase to 18. You got to realize Kyle Lowry has left the building. There's going to be opportunity, okay? Opportunity meaning there's minutes to be had, and he should be getting those minutes. You didn't trade for him and extend him an extension for him to sit on the bench and play 15, 20 minutes. No, he's going to see minutes. He's going to score the ball, and he is strictly for points based because he's going to get points. and it's only going to come in the form of scoring. So, great player to add to your bench. Consider him. He should play extremely well because, again, opportunity is key here. Deandre Hunter, he was having a good season until he started having all these injury issues. He was averaging 15 points, 4.5, 5 rebounds, and he shot 48% from the field, and he's a good defender. Great player to add to your bench, 6th, 7th man off the bench, whatever you want to do with it. Nice young player because, again, 15 points. He's going to get you the rebounds, and he's going to shoot a solid percentage from the field, and he's going to play good defense, which may lead into a block, which may lead into a steal. So when you can get that type of production from a player off of your bench who's nothing more than just a deep, deep sleeper, and he's coming off your bench, and he's going to help you on nights where, again, load management, because you know a lot of players on that load management tip, or just players being out. For those reasons, Hunter is a good add, and he's going to play defense. Okay, so he is good in a points-based league because he's going to get you points. He's a stat stuffer to a certain extent, and he's going to fill up the stat sheet. He's going to get you some points, rebounds. He's going to get some steals, and he's going to do it in an efficient way. So check for him. Atlanta has a great problem because they got a lot of guard. They got too many guards and forwards out there. They're going to have to do something about that. All right, Luguentz Dort. I'm hoping I pronounce his name right. Guard forward with the Thunder, averaged 14 points, 3.6 rebounds last season. Obviously, Thunder are in rebuild mode. This is a player who's a part of that rebuild, and he should see an increase in his minutes, and that means your points should increase. His rebounds should increase. This is nothing more than a player for head-to-head points-based league, only points-based league, and he should be at the end of your bench for those nights where you are struggling with your starters and you have players that you need to add from your bench. Build that bench up. A wild card player, and this is very, very deep, you may be able to add him from free agency once the season starts. Just keep him on your radar, put him in your watch list. Moses Brown. He was on Toronto, the Thunder last season and ended up with the Mavs. He averaged 8.6 points and 8.9 rebounds. Very good season last year. And the Mavs really need to be checking for him and using him because he played his tail off. And I'm checking for him all the way at the end of your bench. Or, again, waivers. Put him on your watch list and monitor the situation. If you can pick him up when you really need to, pick him up, and do not wait until he's consistently getting, say, 10 and 10. Don't wait to that point. You want to act prior to everyone else's reaction. Don't react with everyone else. You have already acted, so that means you have already added this player to your roster when it's time to, because if you get in a position where now this guy for about 2 months has averaged a double-double, playing really well. Now everyone is trying to pick him up. It's going to be hard for you to pick him up. So the goal is to see what's going on and pick up players before they take off. We act. We don't react. Okay, let else in your league react because we act and we make the right decisions early on, so we don't have to worry about, oh my God, I gotta see how much money I need, or I don't think I'm going to be able to pick this player up. Does the other guys in the league know that this guy is playing well? And you don't want to have to think about those things because you may end up not getting that player. So again, we act. We don't react. We are ahead of our competition, which is why we have positioned ourselves to win every week and make the playoffs and win our league. That's just what we do out here, y'all. I don't know about you, but that is what it's all about for us and fantasy basketball. All right, y'all. Check out my video I released yesterday on some platforms to play fantasy basketball. I have one on a dynasty fantasy basketball league, and it'll show you everything on how to create the league and go through drafts and everything. And then I also have one for a redraft league using the Yahoo platform, and it gives you a bunch of information on how to create the league, host your league, some recommended statistics to use, just a bunch of information that should help you as a commissioner take your league to the next level so you can brag and tell everybody you're the best commissioner in fantasy basketball, because that's what I try to do. All right, y'all. I'm dropping a video, or I'm doing a live. I did a live on a do not draft list on players who you shouldn't for in this draft this season for various reasons. So check out that live and leave some comments on what type of questions you may have regarding this video, or any questions you may have in regards to anything fantasy basketball. All right, y'all, hit the like button and subscribe for more of the Score Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Peace.